Hey guys, I'm going to walk you through how I do my lettering in quotes. This is not how you really do it. These are not how professionals do it. This is just a way that I kind of figured out on the fly out of desperation. And I'm probably going to have all of this lettering redone anyway. But I'm going to show you what I'm doing anyhow in hopes that it helps you out. So over here, I'm going to create another layer. This is all my art and stuff. This page is rough. I'm reworking it, so that's why it's all kind of like this, but it doesn't matter. This works for anything. So this is the top layer of art. I'm going to create another layer on top of it. On that layer, I'm going to create a white opacity. So in my paint bucket, I make sure that it's white. And in my paint bucket, I'm going to make sure everything is off. There's no contiguous, or however you say that word, so that it makes the whole page white. Then I'm going to bump down the opacity a bit. This way I can still see what's going on, but when I put the black font on there and stuff, it's not going to compete with the art in any way. So create another layer on top of that. The nice thing you know too is this white layer here, like you'll know to keep everything above that. Then you can get really smart and create folders and stuff to keep it more organized and whatnot. But I'm just going straight ahead. So I make sure that my type is in black. I'm going to pick out my font here. Here's the font tool. I'm using Silver Age, uppercase, bold. My font size is 8. There's this button over here. I don't know what this is called. Toggle the character paragraph panels. That's what it says. And you click on there, it'll show you your font size. And this is kind of important too. This is the space in between the lines, the top and bottom line. And I think you can get really technical and play around with all of those things. But these are the only two settings I worry about: the font size and the space in between. So the font size is 8, which is pretty small. I think some comics, there's no straight answer on these things. I forget where I picked 8 from. I'm working on print size, so it's like that 6 point something by 10 point something inches. So the page is, relatively physically small. This is at 600 dpi. So anyway, I'm using this size, 8 points and the 6 point in between. So I want to make sure that's happening all the time. So this is my lettering thing. I'm ready to go ahead and lay down my first balloon. Pretty easy. She just, this is Una speaking in the first panel, and she just says, what's going on? I already did something wrong. Oh, I had the wrong thing clicked. All right, make sure I've got my font tool ready. Click here. She says, but Puka. I'm going to zoom in here so it's easier to see. But Puka. That looks like generally a good spot to put it, I guess. And you can grab either this moving tool thing to move things around. I don't know why I did that. That's weird. Or I think you can actually even do that with the font thing as you're typing. But for now, I just do a quick plop down generally where I think it's going to go. Second panel, mother speaking to her. And then generally, I think that's where I'm going to lay down the word balloon. And you try to stack your word balloons in oval or round shapes. So you want either 1 or 2 words at the very, very top on the top line. So she says, you cannot blame your very, quote, friend, period. Now, to keep this to be more oval shape, I'm going to bump that down there. This is a little awkward because, blame is longer than up here, but, I'm just trying to get it in this generally rounded sense. So now I just kind of keep going on from here. Actually, this third panel is a little more wordy, so let's do one more panel. She says, oh, wait. Open this up. Because Una's back here. Sometimes you have to blow up the panel so that you can see everything. Obviously, my workspace was covering that, so I wasn't sure where I missed it. Anyway, so now Una's going to say something, but he was there, and dash. Let's see, how does that look? I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I could keep on going and doing this whole page, but I'm going to keep this video shorter for you guys by jumping ahead to how I do the balloons. So you can see what I'm talking about with you want to keep these things, pretty circular, that. So to create the balloons, I go back down to this white level, underneath all of the fonts, but on top of the white opacity. Create another layer, and this is going to be the balloons. Now I go up here and I grab the square tool. I'm going to make it oval. Now I'm just going to see the corner up here. This is generally, imagine this creates like a general crop area of where the balloon's going to go, and I just drag it like that. Same thing here, making a word balloon. Same thing here. This is basically where the top of the balloon is going to start, and you drag it down like that. Now you can either use your mouse to create the balloon or the tail, or you can use a pen. Obviously I'm using the pen, but you can use the mouse, and you can either use, I'm using the lasso, but you can also use the polygon thing if you're using just the mouse, because it might be easier, than trying to create a rounded shape. But since I have this, I'm going to do this. So generally, I don't know what the rules are for the tails, how thick they should be, exactly, whatever. I'm just guessing, right? A real letterer would be vomiting right now. So do that, then you can right click, just stroke. See down here? So you right click on the balloon, stroke. You gotta make sure you're still in that same tool. I use 11 pixels of width for this, and black. I just chose 11, and that's just the size that looked good to me. Hit OK, deselect. There you go, pretty simple. Now within the balloons, last step is you then make sure you've got weight, pick your bucket, make sure this is on contiguous but not on other layers or anything, and then you blop in the weight. Then let's say this was all that was on the page, then you get rid of this opacity thing, and there it is. And then you can do stuff to fix and move things around. So I go back into this font tool, or I can click on a layer like Butt Puka, and then grab this thing to move stuff around, and then use the arrow beneath. See, I can move this around inside the balloon. If it was too close to the side here, I could then fix it and move it up here. Another thing you can do is also go to your balloon level. Then you're going to just grab the selecting tool around it, and then you can do stuff like Control T. Now I can change the shape of the balloon. So if I accidentally typed it like this and I want to make it bigger, I can grab the balloon. So you can either change the shape of the balloon or move the font around. Those are really basic way of going about this. I hope it's useful to you guys. And I already see some things I have to fix, but that's the basics of it. And yeah, hopefully that is useful for you.